All right, what's going on? Welcome back to another episode of Look Mum, I'm Hustling. This is a Christmas episode. Sarah's not ready, but getting into the swing of things nice and early.
I was just like distracted on my phone and you're like already rolling into it. And I was like, oh, I better put my headphones on. So.
You're one of those people that gets distracted on your phone all Christmas morning. Your family's around, everyone's having a joyous time, opening presents, having big breakfast, and you're on your phone looking at what everyone else has got for Christmas.
Maybe, or just like last minute recipes of like, what can I make? Or
I wonder if that's a thing that, you know, back when you're a kid, it sort of hits lunchtime, then all the kids hit the street to show each other's their toys and what they got. Mm-hmm. I guess we just do that on social media and Instagram stories now.
Yeah, because like when I grew up, and I think I talked about this before, but I lived in a cul-de-sac. So all us and the neighbor kids used to like run amok all the time. So like when it was Christmas, you open your presents and stuff, you'd run down to, because we were on top of a hill, you'd run down, everybody would be like, what did you
got my
get?
new bike, got my new science kit.
Yeah, because the street would have like a Christmas party as well, and that would be a day or two beforehand.
Right.
So all the parents would get drunk because you're just in the street, so you don't have to worry about driving home or anything, and all the kids would just be running around at nighttime just like, this is so cool, because you have to be in bed usually, but because all the parents are drinking, you do get to run around at nighttime and go in each other's houses.
Now there's none of that. It's just you hit the feed, hit the scroll the feed and hit the stories and see what everyone else is up to.
Yeah, barely let anybody in anymore.
Yeah. All right, well, Merry Christmas to everyone that's listening to this on Christmas morning, or even perhaps on Boxing Day and you're recovering. Hope you're doing well. Hope it was a nice morning or a nice day for you thus far.
And for people that pick up clothing on a regular basis is what we do. I was like, do we have anything Christmas themed? And I was like, no. I don't even have anything
Christmas
like red.
Clothes.
No.
I think we might have had one vintage Mickey Mouse Christmas thing at one point.
Maybe. And
we'll have to make more of an effort of obtaining and retaining some clothes for next Christmas so we actually have something festive, because we didn't do anything for Halloween.
No.
We didn't do anything for Christmas. Mm-hmm. I guess we have to do something
for New Year's.
I was going to say Easter. New Year's is like pretty close. I don't think we have enough time to organise.
We can get, not the streamers.
Strobe lights.
No, strobe lights. Do. No, but like, the poppers, or you can get like the
little,
it looks
like someone did a party popper all over your shirt this morning.
I know, this is like the most like bright thing. I should have saved this for New Year's Eve. This is like
it's a very New Year's Eve thing.
It's a very much like a loud party shirt, but yeah, it's a little Princess Highway one.
Do you want to pause here and go and change and then save it for next week?
No, it's fine. It's all good.
All right.
I'll find another kind of fun shirt, maybe. Who knows?
You got plenty of those. So, anyway, it's wrapping up the year. I guess this is the last episode for 2023, and then next episode it'll be New Year's Eve, so it'll be 2024.
No, New Year's Day.
New Year's Day, sorry.
Yeah, New Year's Day falls on the Monday for us, so kind of cool to start off the year with a brand new episode, and I don't know, we'll maybe do some live planning again and not action it. Who knows?
Sure. Don't want to revisit that episode. It is what it is, though. We did an episode for those that are perhaps new to the pod this time last year. The first week of 2023, sort of outlining what we wanted to accomplish with the pod, what we wanted to do behind the scenes. We don't really set numbers or goals. Like a lot of people will talk about goal setting, SMART goals, specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and then timely. We don't really do that, especially with social media and business, because it can really put you into a defensive mindset a lot of the time if you're not achieving the numbers you want to achieve, because then you start questioning your worth and your quality and what you're providing. Like when I guess I'm more, and I suppose you kind of fall into the same camp of being more systems driven and just working on the systems, having a simple and repeatable process or procedure behind things, and then the goals will kind of come with time. The goal is meeting the systems, if that makes sense. So we never really made a goal of hitting X number of downloads or views or anything like that. It was just show up weekly, and we wanted to do a bit more promo behind the scenes to share on social media. That was probably the biggest downfall or thing we slipped on this year, but it's something we're starting to push forward towards more for 2024. So hopefully we don't jinx ourselves and make the same mistake again.
No, I think it's just we're a little bit more realistic about it. So like originally when we did the plan, we had big goals, I guess you could say. And I think it's something that this year really taught me, and I think it taught you as well, is we can set big goals, but if you can't achieve them, then it's just going to stop you from like starting them or doing them anyway. So what we've really done over the last couple of weeks is just kind of, I guess, maybe actual SMART goals, making it just more realistic.
I just went through a 3-minute rant about how we don't do goals, and now you're like, we do goals. Everyone's gonna think I'm a liar.
No, not that way. No, it was more of a...
We're creating the system.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I mean. Like, I hear what you're saying, but in terms of defining what we're doing the other week, I wouldn't say, because none of it was like, we want to hit X number of things.
Right.
We want to produce X number of bits of promo, but it was not really like a goal of... a goal that you would attach to like success per se. It's more just like a workload goal,
Gotcha. Okay.
which is more, in my mind, more of a system.
Yeah, so we're working, okay, let me reframe. So we're working on a more realistic strategy that works with our like schedule, our time. Because a big thing that we wanted to make sure about the pod is like, yes, we wanted to grow and all that kind of stuff eventually, but you know, one of our ethos is like fun first, and that's same with our creativity kind of like aspect as well, like business and trying to like obviously do the hustle, because that's what that comes first. That's like what we're really, really focused on, and it's our podcast, our YouTubes, all our creative endeavors are just an outlet at the end of the day. Like we don't want to put too much pressure on it because we don't want it to become a job.
Yeah, I
guess is the best way I can sort of think about it. So it's more about why we didn't like do the promo or anything is because we had like such a intense like number, and you know, just
it was just for what we wanted to achieve, it wasn't manageable. Like there's a couple of weeks there where I was spending 8 hours editing TikTok clips, which is fine. They're relatively straightforward to do, but that's 8 hours is a lot of time to do that for a little side project. Although we only spend technically an hour recording and then maybe an hour getting the main episode out, another 8 hours on top of that. That's 10 hours in total, taken away from everything else, basically at the cost of having a day off once a week.
Yes.
So just trying to be more realistic about what's achievable. We could pay someone to do a bunch of clips, but then is it realistic and feasible to be forking out that much money for the size of the show and kind of the scope of things? Or how big we kind of deem the show. And it's I guess we want to grow the pod. That's obviously why we do it. We do enjoy doing it and sitting down having discussions, and obviously it will grow over time, but we're not stressed. We're concerned with it at all. Yeah,
like we don't have a time frame or anything against it.
Because it just stresses you out. I don't understand the logic. I mean, I understand the logic of people being like, I want to reach 10,000 downloads in this year. Okay, like you can track that like a hawk. And you might make some money out of it. Like, it depends what your goal is. If you want to be the biggest interviewer ever, or you want to make $1 million a year off ads, you can have that goal. But halfway through the year, you're going to start stressing about it. And then all the fun and the joy and the things you liked doing the thing for starts unraveling, and it then becomes, like you said, like a job or a burden. And it just takes the joy out of it.
Yeah. I think we've got...
Just having a system, an achievable system, where you know you're putting the effort and work in and you're trying to just improve it a little bit each week is all I'm concerned with.
Yeah. I think 2024 is very much going to be a head down and grind kind of year.
It's discipline year. It's discipline year. And I thought this year was going to be discipline year, but...
No, I think this year was more about figuring out, and I think I've said this before, but it's like figuring out like what actually didn't work. I think was like a huge thing.
I think every year is going to be like that.
Yeah. It's like learning lessons and everything as always, but this year, I think, was a big thing of just really figuring out what we're capable of with the time that we have without losing time for ourselves or like, you know, just having that mental health, all that kind of stuff. Just really kind of stripping it all back. And we had like a good like sit down like couples kind of conversation of just like stripping it all back. Like, what do we want? What are our values? What do we want to, I guess, have in our lives in 5, 10, 20 years time? We've had some big like relationship conversations over the past year. And I think that's kind of really took focus of what it is that we want to, I guess, really work hard for next year and the following years.
This year was about honing in on what we're doing things for, finding balance. What is the balance? But it's a never ending thing. It feels like, this year we figured a lot of things out. We figured out the balance between work life, pleasure, home life, relationships, and everything like that. But it's every year's going to feel like that. It just feels like it's a nice bow at the end of the year to look back and think we moved the needle a bit in understanding our why and our purpose and our balance. But every year's going to be like that.
Yeah, well, I think it's an ever evolving struggle maybe, but it's just, I think, we just had some big life conversations this year, which I think is good and needed.
Well, in regards to the pod, we went from doing the bare minimum, an hour record, an hour edit, to, I mean, not the extreme other end, because the extreme other end would be editing for 30 hours a week, but pushing it to like 10, 12 hours where it's a part-time thing, and then back to zero, and now trying to find the middle ground where we're doing the show justice, we're having fun, we're not burning out, we're not borrowing time from other ventures in order to just pump out a bunch of clips. It's more like finding the best, most interesting, meaningful clips and then working on those as opposed to putting out twice the volume at half the quality. So finding that balance, but just doing just the main episode on its own, it only does so much in terms of growing the show. We don't really have, we don't have guests right now. We don't have a budget. We don't really have anything going other than our time and our interest, and just try to enjoy doing the recording each week. But there's only so far that can take you if you're not like super charismatic, like we're kind of on the lower end, I would say. We're
silly goose. We're silly geese sometimes. So
it's just working with the constraints and being realistic about what you can provide in terms of what you're producing and then what you're doing on the back end to like grow it. So it's it was a year of finding balance, being realistic, not having ridiculous expectations, and just knowing that we want to be in this for the long haul, and it's just a slow grind. It's a marathon. Nipsey Hussle, it's a marathon.
Nipsey Hussle, marathon.
Marathon continues.
Yeah. Life's a marathon.
It is. It's a what happens at the end of a sprint? You keel over and you start panting.
Right. Gotcha.
What happens at the end of a marathon?
You peel over and start panting? Or like, it depends, you collapse. I mean, that's death, I guess, right? So life is a marathon.
Yeah, I suppose.
So when you have your even heart rate, you're doing all the right things.
I feel like at the end of a marathon, you usually walk it off for a little bit first. Right at the end of a sprint, you're done. You've been at, zone 5 cardio, dead.
Oh, you know what? There's different type of people that finish a marathon, right? You got the people that go across the line, they're fine, they're breezy, they walk it off. You got the people that, collapse like...
They crawl that last 100
That crawl that last 100. Or you got some other people carrying them, lifting them across the line to make it. Guess, what type of marathon runner are you?
Yeah, I'll be the one pushing you. I'll have to get some sort of trolley and push you for that last kilometre.
Hey.
Or drag you, perhaps.
No, I'll walk it off.
So what's other than talking about what we didn't do, I'm pretty proud of, we did an episode, we missed 2 weeks, it was due to sickness, so sick leave technically for the show.
Yeah, sure.
But we had a very good run that I'm quite proud of. We, didn't change the set. The set remained the same. We didn't get distracted with trying to improve the set. We didn't have any guests, which is fine. That's something way down the line when we get better at communicating and talking and find people that we're truly interested in chatting with and talking to. But I'm just I guess proud of the consistency. Yeah,
100%. Because I think we'll call it version 1 of the podcast. I think we actually missed quite a few days here and there as well. Like there's just some weeks that we missed, or I think it was very inconsistent. Then we had that big break. And we really struggled with version 1 of just trying to figure out what to talk about, what was our style. But this one, even though we've been through a few different kind of like iterations of like how we present the podcast, like we're in a very comfortable spot on how we set it up, how we talk about it, things we bring to the table.
I think we just had to find the comfort or become comfortable with the no rules mentality. It's not a news show. It's not necessarily an interview show. It's not a hustle show. It's not a business show. It's not a couples show. It's just an us show.
Us show? Yeah. Us show.
Like it's what it is. It can be many, many things.
Yeah.
It can be nothing at the same time. Most of the time it is kind of nonsense. It's just interesting things week to week that, that we want to find out more about, or I want to hear your opinion about, or want to share with the listeners and the viewers.
Yeah. And something that I've really enjoyed as well is because we sort of try to hunt around for, I guess, like cool, interesting things to talk about, or whether it's new tech or AI. There's like heaps of stuff that I've learned this year that I probably wouldn't have if I wasn't doing this podcast.
Yeah, well, let's get into that. This year, I think there were some gigantic changes in just culture in general. The biggest one that comes to mind would just be the takeover of AI.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have a look at previous episodes, but I'm not going to fumble around. I want to say the first episode that we even kind of mentioned AI was maybe in like March or something. We've talked about ChatGPT. We talked about it a couple of times before we even got on there and played with it.
Yep.
Midjourney for image generation. We talked about in terms of like editing podcasts, different apps that are saving time.
Yeah, the music stuff as well of people like
the fake Drake song.
Yeah.
So AI was by far the biggest year. If I look back and tried to define 2023, it would be
the evolution or just
the fascination of AI.
Maybe the adaptation of AI. Like people are just more used to it, more talking about it. Even like my dad was talking about it, and he's like 60, and he's like, "Have you heard of ChatGPT?" And I was just, it's cool that he's into it, but that means it's starting to go into like other generations. Like it's starting to become slowly integrated. A lot of companies are using bots and all that kind of stuff to interact with their customers. And
it's definitely not a fad. Speaking on like the first iteration that we had of the pod, that first initial run of 20-40 episodes, there was a couple where we talked about NFTs and blockchain games like Axie Infinity. And I'm not saying that we're ahead of the curve or anything, but I'm interested in new waves of technology and new waves of where culture's going as it's kind of happening. I'm never that ahead. I'm not like 6 months ahead finding things out. I'm usually kind of learning about it as it's starting to get talked about on Reddit and Twitter and things like that. So that year would have been 2020 was kind of, or 2021, I think it was 2021.
Yeah.
Was kind of, in my eyes, shaped around NFTs and blockchains and things like that.
Yes.
But the reason I'm mentioning that in comparison to you saying that your dad knows about AI, all these businesses are implementing chatbots and stuff. Not many people are talking about NFTs anymore. It wasn't adopted at that level because there wasn't, and there will be at a time in the future, I'd imagine, but there wasn't a clear uptake in terms of every person, every business is kind of aware that this thing exists or wants to implement it because it wasn't, I guess, fully formed or ready to be accepted and incorporated into everything. Now, the AI, it's for sure going to be around for a long time. NFTs, there's the argument that it might just never happen. But AI, it's very clear that it's going to be here for good from now on. I mean, there's probably science fiction books talking about AI in the 70s or 80s before they even knew how the internet would come to be and everything like that. So I guess humans for the last couple of decades have known some sort of artificial intelligence or robot-like mechanism or software or whatever will eventually incorporate into human lives and business and everything. But it's here now. So yeah, it's a stark difference to that NFT summer that we seen a couple of years ago. But yeah, AI has probably been the biggest news topic in the entire world and the entire culture. Every website's talked about it at some length. Every news program has mentioned it. It's really fascinating. So it'd be interesting to see, will that continue next year or will there be
something else that will sort of take over?
Yeah.
Well, besides that, like another huge thing was, I guess, the rise of like content creators and the whole conversation around the content economy. I think that was quite huge earlier in the year.
Maybe it's just seen a lot of brands. I think they started a little bit earlier, but big brands like Logan Paul, KSI's Prime, Mr. Beast has his food brands. They every time I'm online, I'm basically seeing Prime sponsoring some new athlete. They sponsored the other day Patrick Mahomes, which is the best quarterback there is right now.
Right.
They sponsored Volkanovski, Israel Adesanya, two of the, Izzy's not the champ anymore, but at the time they were two UFC champs. They sponsor like 4 or 5 soccer teams in the Premier League.
Yeah.
They're just gigantic now to the point where, you know, those creators that started that will eventually sell it off in a couple of years and make $1 billion each or something insane. But it's clear that from all of our previous episodes that we've talked about creators and stuff, that creators will all eventually, to be successful long term, have to pivot into some sort of business or product or service to not escape, but to diversify how they're making their money outside of the content production.
100%.
Like Emma Chamberlain, good example. Last week we talked about live shopping. So once they all start being able to curate an audience and sell directly to them, there's going to be less reliance on these big brands. Like, I don't know, like what if some creator starts making crazy jeans and they're the biggest jeans company and takes over Levi's? Like there's these possibilities, like they're available now, and the foundation's been set by some of these big creators in the last, I guess, 18 months to 2 years that you can make money with a big legitimate business that serves a purpose and solves a problem if the creator's business savvy enough, essentially.
Yeah, I think the shopping one, because that's only just starting to take off, I think that's going to be a huge aspect of like 2024. I think that's probably going to be like the next thing that's going to like skyrocket.
This morning we got a very little Google AdSense payout. But what if the creator doesn't want to wait weeks or a month or 2 months for a payout and you can go live and essentially get cashed out tomorrow? So as another avenue, like most of the big YouTubers and content creators will have their own merch line. But if you can go live for an hour a week or even pay one of your employees, or as we mentioned last week, have a virtual assistant that's spruiking your products, trying to sell it for you in a live stream, and you can make money instantly and get, cashed out tomorrow as opposed to waiting for a monthly payout from some other platform. That's a huge benefit. It means more cash flow to creators in order to build better things, make better content. So I think, and I've talked about this on my own YouTube channel before, is creators need a business because you can, it's not a smart strategy, rely on AdSense dollars and dollars from views, because if you had one video that flops and your mortgage is just harder to pay that week, it's just a nightmare. So diversifying and having a business outside of content creation is like a must, and I think you'll see more and more and more of that. Like even, I've seen yesterday, is it Dude Perfect? The guys that do all the trick shots and stuff like that.
Yes, yeah, they're the ones that
they just do.
They do like amazing trick shots of just like trying to like dunking or whatever it is.
Do they do trick shots or they do pranks? I can't remember.
Dude Perfect do trick shots, I'm pretty sure, from memory, and they do
crazy challenges and stuff. They launched a kids multivitamin yesterday. You can bring this up actually.
Cute.
But it's weird because I guess their demo would be pre-teens.
Yeah, and I don't think it was this year, but I think like last year or the year before, they were like one of the biggest, like top 5 YouTube channels.
They're massive, yeah. Dude Perfect. We released the kids multivitamin packed with essential nutrients, vitamins. These gummies are perfect to help keep the kids healthy. So obviously they've got to market towards the parents, right? Or have the kids be like, Mum, I want the Dude Perfect multivitamins. I don't know how that's going to play out because the kids aren't really going to race to taking multivitamins. So an interesting choice of business, but who am I? I mean, who am I to say what's going to work and what won't work?
Well, I guess
won't work.
Well, some of because they're doing like trick shots and things like that, whether it's like, how that famous one of like jumping into the pool and like doing a slam dunk or whatever it is. But it's just like there's like some sort of like athleticism involved. So I can sort of see why it's sort of branching out to the vitamins, because you have, I don't know, like sports kids, right? They're the ones that are watching these trying to do trick shots and trying to do, challenges and everything.
Or it's just lazy kids that just want to see someone do something that they would be able to do.
I don't know. Maybe it's the cool new thing. Like you have a group of friends be like, have you had your vitamin yet? You do perfect vitamin.
Stranger things have happened.
Yes. Yeah. Kids get addicted to vitamin gummies. So better than getting addicted to Prime, I think.
Or nicotine.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting thing I seen yesterday. It was like, it makes sense.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have been my first guess necessarily.
But it's like the whole thing, like you're saying, like YouTube, yes, it's going to be around forever, but are you going to be relevant to your audience forever? Like these guys are going to get old at some point or not be able to do these trick shots anymore. They might, maybe call in like another new generation like the Wiggles did or something like that. But
most creators burn out of and either want to move outside of their niche or get over making videos in general. I reckon if you spend an hour or two doing a bit of reconnaissance and research and went back to say 2010, and then every year from 2010 to 2020 got the 20 biggest creators and made a list, and then went back to see how many of them are still creating or what they do now, I reckon a good 80% of them have moved into either a different type of content creation or a business or brand deals and partnerships. And I don't think that many carry through for like years and years and years. But obviously, we don't have decades and decades of evidence of that because it's only been around for 10, 15 years. But I don't think for most of the big ones that I see usually like roll it back after 5, 10 years.
Yeah.
And they're the ones that hit millions and millions of subs. And then you have the people that have been grinding for 8 years and have gotten nowhere, kind of like us.
Yeah.
So it's interesting in that regard because, you know, it's not really it can be a long-term thing, but the proof's in the pudding. We can only use the examples that have been around. And yeah, it's not that common that someone's on there pumping videos every day or even every week for 10 plus years. Like the first thing I'm thinking of is like PewDiePie. Does he still make videos? Like I wouldn't know.
I don't know. That's a good question.
I know he moved to Japan a while ago and he was starting to use his iPhone for videos.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago.
So kind of, he's probably due for one soon. So probably about weekly.
Yeah. He's probably got a couple of channels by now. Or, you know, he might just do Twitch streams or whatever it is. Or at some point, if you have a big enough business, it's going to demolish how much money you make off AdSense and views. This is for YouTube creators anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if you make, like he's making 3 million, he's getting 3 million views most videos. That's a lot of money.
Yes.
So, but yeah, we haven't seen 3 decades of content creators making money. What happens in 2040 when there's a 50-year-old that's been doing it for 20, 25 years?
Yeah.
And, you know, they're more than happy to produce 3 videos a week for that amount of time. It'd be interesting to see how that plays out in the future.
Being creative, it's very difficult to keep that juices flowing in a way. Yeah, like if it is 30 years down the track, like do you have that same creative spark? Are you just stuck in the momentum? Or you're just one of those people that always have, you know, you're a Rick Rubin and just always creative in general because you live the life of creativity. Or, you know, like Emma Chamberlain, she's like burnt out, stopped making videos.
Burn out, some just shoot up real fast and then just get over it and burn out. And the momentum catches up with them and they realize, oh, like I'm killing it, but like, is this really what I want to do? Sometimes it moves so fast you don't get to stop and reflect.
No. Stop and think and
become exhausting.
And it turns into a job, right? The same as just like working all the time, not having any days off, not having any freedom to just do something different or to explore or things like that. Casey Neistat, Emma Chamberlain, even like Logan Paul, they were doing like a vlog a day. Like that's so much pressure.
To be creative all the time. And like there's no one like guiding them. It's just them and their intuition. But something that has been helping me stay focused recently, we got these Magic Minds in. These Magic Mind drinks, I've been having them with coffee because you know how I like taking 3 double shots of coffee a day. Like this is.
I've actually been on you for like you're having too much coffee. You need to really cull it back because that's something I've done over this past year. I used to be a 3-a-day coffee person.
Well, you shouldn't have had that second coffee today.
No. 2 is my max, but I try to really stick to 1. But yeah,
I have too much of it. If you weren't here today, I'd have 1 now. I'd have another coffee at probably 2:30. And then usually around 4:30, I'm deciding, do I just have a quick black one? I'm kind of actually loving the flavor of these, but the cool thing about it is it give you not a coffee buzz, but a nice like sustained focused energy. It sounds kind of weird. We've had lots of little juice shots in the past. We were making at one point little orange and lemon turmeric kind of immunity shots.
Yeah.
This is a kind of a similar thing, but it has matcha in it, which is something I've tried drinking in the past, but it's kind of a pain to make.
Yes, like to make good matcha. And I've always really liked matcha because it's just way better for you than coffee in general. Like it's
made from green tea, but it has like a little bit of caffeine, but it's more of like a sustained release as opposed to like the big spike and crash that coffee, a double shot like this will give you.
And I crash hard from coffee as well. I found that I was not sleeping very well because I was drinking too much coffee, but I know shots like this just help. I was going to say, it just gives you a pep in your step. Like it just gives you don't really get that coffee crash. I always found that I was yawning at like 3 p.m. As soon as you hit like that 2 p.m., 3 p.m. wall, I'm dead on my feet. You need that kind of like pick me up. This is where like shots like this like come in handy because it's not full-on coffee. It's not an energy drink or anything like that. It's got matcha. And another really thing I like about it as well is lion's mane. Like, I'm heaps into lion's mane, the benefits. Everyone talks about how good it is for your brain.
You hear about people drinking mushroom tea and it just helps support your immune system and keeps you alert and things like that. We've actually grown lion's mane here. We did a video on my channel 2 years ago. We actually interviewed on the podcast the guy that sells at-home mushroom kits to grow oyster mushrooms, and we grew lion's mane here. But lion's mane's really good compared to normal mushrooms. It's really, really good for your health and brain function and everything like that. If you're interested into getting a bit more productivity and a bit more focus in your day, and you feel like coffee's, you're enjoying the taste and the flavor, but it's kind of not giving you the energy and the focus that you need, give these Magic Minds a try, because they're actually, you'd think that a little juice shot would be kind of weird tasting or sour. These are like a little bit sweet. You can taste the matcha and the passion fruit. They're super, super nice. And you can actually get a discount with our code LMIH20 if you head to magicmind.com.
Yes.
And get 20% off. Instantly, I'm just like, I love the sweetness. I love passion fruit. So you can just taste that passion fruit coming in. But we've had other shots from just the general supermarket, but a lot of the time they're just loaded with ginger and they can burn quite a bit.
Yeah, they can be like spicy in a way. But that was like, these are heaps sweeter than I thought they would be.
I kind of want like 3 more just because of the flavor, but I don't want to get too focused. Go into the shadow realm.
Yeah, but it's good. It's just like that nice, like you can have it with coffee and stuff as well, but it's just that nice kind of, I guess that it has a good aftertaste and stuff as well. It was like, coffee, you get like the dry cotton mouth and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
After too much coffee.
You need a litre of water after drinking it.
Yeah. But they're American companies, so yeah, you can get them online.
What else did we learn this year other than AI? We've talked about a lot of Netflix stuff, a lot of documentaries.
Well, because we've been doing more like actual date nights.
More date nights, so more stuff to consume.
More time to spend together.
The thing is, we do this recording on Fridays, and then we watch everything on Friday nights.
Yeah.
So by the time we get around to talking about it, it's a week after the fact, and then the episode comes out 3 days later. So we're kind of 10 days behind the news cycle.
Yeah. And
I really wanted to watch Rebel Moon before this because I think we mentioned it. Zack Snyder probably 3 or 4 months ago, and there's actually a clip on the YouTube channel about Rebel Moon's like this big new franchise that's coming out. It's part 1 of, I imagine, either 2 or 3 movies. Zack Snyder, some hits, some misses, but this is like a kind of, I guess, in that the Star Wars kind of space opera style of movie. Yeah. And I think we had a conversation about, can it compete with these massively established franchises that are out? And it just looks cool. It kind of looks like Western with like some Japanese samurai vibes, but in space. And I'm looking at this here. I'm like, I can't wait to watch this tonight. It comes out in 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. You kind of want to watch it tonight, but I sort of want to save it for Christmas and like binge it during the day. But we'll see. Maybe we'll do rock, paper, scissors.
Christmas can wait.
Yeah, but it's got very like Firefly sort of, like it's got a vibe about it. Like I really liked Firefly, and I think a lot of Firefly fans out there are just like, there was only 1 season, right? And then the Serenity movie came out and ruined it all. Yeah. But it'll be interesting whether it can hold up.
Think about the graphics from that was 2005 or something, even a little bit earlier.
Early 2000s.
Think about how fast sci-fi graphic design and CGI has come since then. We see the new Dune. Have you seen the new Dune trailer?
No, I haven't.
Oh my God.
I try not
Probably the best trailer I've ever seen. Like, I'm serious. The trailer's like you want to go line up at the movies right now to see that. Yeah. It looks insane. Like, way better than the first one.
Yeah, of course it would be, because everyone loved the first one. I try to hold off the trailer until kind of like closer to, or maybe we'll react it in the...
Do you want to do a live reaction? Because I'm hyped for June, and this is just like visually, I'm like, fuck.
Looks like it.
Oof.
You can pop it on. Yeah. Put on the trailer.
Really?
Yeah, if you want to.
It'd be annoying for people.
Okay, never mind then. Don't worry about it. But Timothy Chalamet.
Well,
Chalamet. Chalamet. He's got Wonka, and now he's got Dune coming out. So
he's kind of killing it.
Pretty
Which
talented.
One did I watch?
Do you want official trailer?
It wasn't 7 months ago. Must have been the new one 9 days ago.
Mm-hmm. Trailer number 3.
It must be.
Okay.
And there's a few new actors.
It's okay. I'm here. It's been a while since you've had one of those nightmares. Tell me, what was it about?
Oh, man.
It's only fragments.
just the sound design of this. Like
clear.
for like 2 months after the first movie, I listened to nothing but the soundtrack when I was working.
That's right, you did too.
My family's been fighting them for centuries.
Oh man.
Your blood comes from
I'm
dukes
getting
and
chills.
great houses.
Like it's just so cinematic.
Yeah.
What we do for the benefit of all.
Well, I'd very much like to be equal to you.
Maybe I'll show you the way.
Wait for it, it's like gets so much better. Bit of romance in this one. So they met in the first movie.
Deal with this prophet. Send assassins.
Fade Arthur. He's psychotic.
I don't know what he's out of. He's in a few things.
I see possible futures all at once. And in so many futures, our enemies prevail.
It's actually got a really good cast.
Batista's in it.
There is a narrow
was in the
way
first one.
through.
That was it.
Actually, there's Big Sandworm. There's like other games. How terrifying. March 1. They pushed it back quite a bit. It was going to be in Christmas this year.
My allegiance is to you. Do you believe me?
I think it's one of the Skarsgård's kids.
This is a form
It's
of
the
power
villain.
Yeah, I'll
that
show you
our
the
world
actor.
has not
Yeah.
yet
He's,
seen.
I think he played Elvis in that Elvis movie.
Oh, yes. The Disney kid, not a Skarsgård.
Is he?
I want you to know
Disney
I will
kid.
love you as long as I breathe.
Skarsgård.
No, he's not a Skarsgård.
Skarsgård.
Never lose
The
me.
Skarsgård brothers.
Say who you are.
Sorry, it's fine.
Oh,
Consider what you're
the
about
Yeah.
to do, Paul Atreides.
you get the idea though.
Yes.
Skarsgård.
Yeah, so just go Skarsgård brothers. But yeah, Skarsgård's not in this one.
Sorry.
Oh yeah, just because you have to do the
I need to find out Austin Butler.
Yeah. But he was a Disney
Florence
kid.
Pugh, Christopher
Yep.
Walken,
Mm-hmm.
Jason Momoa. Like it's a hectic. I
Jason Momoa was in
can't
the
wait.
first
I reckon
one.
honestly, I'm gonna watch it 2-3 times.
It's pretty good. I mean,
We
when it
actually
came
have
out,
that new cinema, that
Cinema X.
Screen X or something.
Yeah.
There's a new movie cinema
Mm-hmm.
that we've seen that has basically the movie stretches around 3 walls as opposed to just the front wall.
Yes.
We were
would've-
going to go see Wonka tonight,
Mhm.
but like it's just Willy Wonka.
No.
I think this on like a screen, I don't know how it would work. It must have stretched the edges out onto the side walls.
A bit of both. I actually know someone who's watched. They actually watched Wonka in the Big X, so they said it's a bit of both. It doesn't always stretch around the side, only sometimes. So
I think this would because it's one of those movies where they have like, I don't know if you know the term, but anamorphic bars.
Mhm.
So some movies are made more widescreen. It'll still play on a normal TV, but they have anamorphic bars, black bars on top and bottom
yeah,
that make it, rather than being 16:9, it'll be, for example, 18:9 or whatever. But you can make those bars as high or as small or as large as you want to make it wider, like way wider than it is short. Like I've done it for some YouTube videos and stuff in the past. But if it's going to stretch around 3 walls, technically you need more of an anamorphic bar on the top and bottom to crunch it so it can spread without distorting the edges.
yeah.
But I feel like this movie, I remember the first one was a wide, heaps wide.
Well, it's very landscapey, so they've got a lot of
they crunch
space.
a lot of it down from memory. I don't know if it's a traditional 16:9 ratio.
Yeah, but I know someone that did go see it, so they kind of not all the time. And they said it's, I think about it as like IMAX, but wide, because IMAX is very square and very tall, right? So it's wide. So sometimes it'll stretch, sometimes it's filled in by AI. Like sometimes it's like, they've just got, and then because they can sort of see if someone's about to walk on screen, you can just see someone walking down the side and it kind of sort of comes on screen. So
Right. Yeah, so it's saying here Dune IMAX aspect ratio 1.9 to 1. So it's twice as wide as it is tall.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how it's very different to a 16:9 traditional sort of YouTube video.
that's very cinema nerdy of you.
But yeah, that makes more sense in terms of if it was playing on all 3 walls at the same time as opposed to depending on the scene.
Yeah. Do you want to bring up what Cinema X looks like so people sort of know?
No.
No? They can Google it themselves, all right.
Like, get the idea. It's 3, like you're looking at
3
the front
screens.
wall.
Yeah.
The side walls have the image as well.
But I'd say Dune will probably be pretty perfect for it because
All
of
right,
the
so
landscapes.
who are these Skarsgårds?
So that's the dad Skarsgård.
He's got just a whole clan of actors.
Yeah. So just go Skarsgård family. So he was in, like, they're Swedish, but he was in a lot
Babe
of...
Pig in the City. Just giving me Babe vibes.
Maybe. But he's been in a lot of the recent, like, Marvel movies and stuff. But if you just go Skarsgård family... Oh, he was in Dune.
Yeah, he's the guy that's floating, the big fat dude.
the evil dude.
I forget what his name was,
So
Baron.
I thought his sons were in it, but no. So just go Skarsgård brothers.
Well, kind of just... You're going to tell me how to navigate Wiki now. Children.
No.
He's got 8 children.
Yeah. So he was in, like, True Blood and stuff. So he was very popular.
This is why I don't know him. Volta. I've never heard of any of these guys.
And then Bill is, like, the other popular one. Bill's, like,
Skarsgård
brothers.
kids.
Because one of them played, so the Bill guy played the It.
Oh, he does
creepy.
look like Austin Butler, this guy.
Yes, that's who I thought it
Looks
was.
very similar.
Yes.
Okay.
But he played, like, the It character.
John Wick.
yeah.
Okay. So they're branching out of Sweden.
No,
I've never heard
I think all the kids were born in America, maybe. With the more recent ones. I don't know.
And they're all actors?
A lot of them are, yeah. So that's why I'm saying it's the Skarsgård clan.
How does that happen? Like how
Nepo babies?
is it the dad's pushing it? Is it the oldest one was into it and then the younger brothers are kind of like, I want to do what my brothers, brothers want to like do what their brother's doing? Or do they have just literally an innate ability to act? Or is it, I imagine a lot of us just learnt behavior from their dad.
Yeah. Yeah, it's probably like a combination of everything, right? Like to be an actor, you want to be, like to do any job or things, you kind of want to do it, especially in the creative space. But
They're all, like one,
it's
two, the three, there's 5 of them that are actors.
It's only Alexander and Bill that I think are the more popular
Swedish
ones.
actor, Swedish actor, Swedish actor, Swedish actor.
Okay.
I feel like one of them's going to rebel and just become a drug addict, probably, right?
Maybe, or become like an attorney or whatever.
And then the daughter, let me guess, actor. See, this is where it's weird. Now it's too much.
Too many?
It's
too many
too
people?
much.
Yeah.
Like the Hemsworth, I'm pretty sure there's a Hemsworth brother that doesn't do any acting.
No, there is a Hemsworth brother that does do some acting.
But it's just nowhere near as good.
nowhere near as popular,
But you have to learn to accept. That's where the self-acceptance comes in, knowing that you can't compete and your name, it's your surname's already linked to like 2 of the biggest actors in the world, and to add your hat into that.
Yeah. Because True Blood was massive for ages.
But how do all these, wouldn't there'd be so much competition?
No, they're all different ages, right?
Yeah, but like around the Christmas table, they're all like, they wouldn't be like, I got this role, but there'd be a lot of resentment between them because they're all fighting for roles.
Yeah, maybe.
But obviously, they have their different traits and type of characters that they do portray. But there's got to be some level of competition, knowing like I got a Marvel franchise, and this guy's just doing HBO TV show or whatever it is. That would seem like an awkward dynamic. And how would you like imagine being at a dinner with them? They're all acting. They're all actors. So they could all be acting and just being fake nonstop, and you're just in this weird world. It's like jury duty. Imagine you went there and they're all acting, and you're just like, "What's going on?"
Yeah. Be pretty funny. It would be like a family of sports stars, right? Like there's going to be someone who's a better athlete than someone else. So
2 or 3 or 4, 6. Okay, now there's some.
But like, what level of do they just do? Like a couple of ads or 1 or 2 movies? I don't know.
Yeah, it could just be Nepo style. Interesting. I had never heard of them. The
Skarsgård. Yeah.
I feel like they should all just be in their own Avengers type movie.
Maybe the Skarsgård clan.
Yeah, Guardians.
Because I think the Gustav dude is the one that's like in the Vikings, and then the other dude are like more American Hollywood. So yeah.
Fair enough.
There you go.
Interesting. I learned about a whole new actor clan. Hope you guys learned something as well. What else did we learn this year?
Just trying to think. We did watch a lot of movies and stuff. I don't know whether we should reminisce between our old episodes.
No, let's not live in the past.
We did a lot of stuff about, I think what was a really good episode when we talked about the like filling your cup and like really figuring out how to find that balance in life and doing things that are good for you.
Yeah, we talked about that for the first 20 minutes of this episode.
Yeah, I know, but it was a good one. What else did we talk about? Just trying to think. No,
just about what we talked about. For me, it's just like just reflecting on the year, not necessarily about what we did, but
well,
just what if you had to wrap the year up and look back and give it one little sentence or one image or something that kind of defined the whole year, other than the things we've already mentioned thus far.
Well, one thing we actually haven't mentioned, and this is kind of like what the show is about, like we've I think I've helped a lot more this year, but growing the business as well. Like it's been, we're in a storage unit. There's been huge milestones within that business from when we started in January this year compared to where it is now. Like it's grown so much.
Yeah, I think we're up 50% on last year.
Yeah, it's been massive.
Like at the start of 12 months ago, we were 100 or something percent. Like it's going really well, growing. There's no like fear or I don't ever really get down about the business or negative about a slow day. Like I just.
You mentioned it in passing, and you used to get quite upset about it. Maybe like last year or whatever. It's been like a really not upset, but you just like you used to get a bit stressed about it.
It was more about accumulation of stock and being able to not being sure if I could meet my own, I guess, requirements or metrics. Not even metrics in terms
just
of numbers,
but expectations
like,
about
can
yourself.
I do? Like it's kind of hard to explain. Like I don't feel like I'm ever worried about the state of the business. I'm kind of worried about the state of, how would I put it?
It's more of like you've got solid systems and structure in place. It's just more about the flow on effect.
It's kind of the concern of, can I fulfill the system? Like, can I like do what I've set, like I've agreed it's only to myself. Like I'm just making deals with myself. Yeah. Can I fulfill what I've promised? As opposed, it's never really, I'm concerned that I can't eat this week, or I'm worried that it's going backwards, or like all those little slides and little micro W's and small losses. W is a win, little losses rather.
Yeah.
None of those get to me.
No, you do.
I've never let a bad day, like a bad sale or a bad transaction or a bad customer, impact me for more than 15 minutes. That's something I pride myself on. But we've done nothing but try and optimize, make more efficient systems, really crunch the numbers to know how much time it's going to take to get to a certain level. Again, it comes back to the goals versus systems. I'm never trying to really shoot for some financial goal. It's more how much more efficient can this task be in this business to allow the best and most productive outcome. That's all I'm really ever focused on, like how to make the business better.
100%. And done very, very well. It's something that's always been tweaked as well. It's not something that I'd be like, all right, this is the system, this is the routine. All right, let's stick to it. It's constantly like pretty much every month to be like, all right, how can I tweak it? How can I tighten that screws those a little bit more? Am I improving?
And it's never really trying to improve the workflow. It's trying to improve the understanding of what's working and why it's working. It's the insights. It's trying to tap into more insights and more understanding of why things work, why things are the way they are, why they're slow, why they're fast, as opposed to trying to find some new miracle pill that's going to solve anything. It's more just trying to learn why.
Yeah. It's just being more efficient at the end of the day, more efficient, smarter, like working smarter, not harder. So yeah, I think that's a huge epic achievement this year, is just the lengths that it's shot through. Yeah, it's been awesome. It's been really, really good. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of me and the effort.
To you for help. I mean, you're always helping, but
but I put in more. Well, because like beforehand, I was just kind of helping wherever I could. There wasn't a set time to it. I didn't have like a set like amount in my schedule or anything for it. I'd be like, oh, I've got some time. All right, I can do some listings or whatever. But now I've got like a set. We know exactly, all right, I'm putting in 8 hours a week. I know exactly how much time and effort that I can put into it. And it's just, really helped kind of have that in place. And then we know, all right, I can do this amount and I can help with this amount. All right, we need this many amount of clothing.
It removes all the guesswork or the confusion and lack of direction. Everything's just like this task, this time, it takes this amount of minutes to do it. There's no room for fumbling or confusion. It might be a little bit slower some days, a little bit faster some days, but it's removing all the guesswork, all the decision making, all that just completely out the window, and just focus systems. And I guess that's why we grew a little bit more this year, and hopefully why we grow a little bit more next year.
Yeah, separations of tasks, I think, is a saying that you've said throughout the whole entire year. Just being, like you're saying, just to tack it on. But yeah, separations of tasks.
It's probably been
being focused.
One of the biggest philosophies that I've embraced this year, and I got it from the Courage to Be Disliked book, and it's a philosophy concept by Alfred Adler. Separation of tasks means knowing what our tasks are and how they differ from the tasks of others. Many depressed people fall into the habit of trying to please others in order to get some positive feedback from them. So it's removing yourself from what the other person's doing and just focusing on what you can control. Control your controllable, as opposed to trying to persuade or, change someone's mind or win them over or alter how they view the world or view you or alter how they do things. It's separation of tasks. Focus on you and let them focus on them. That's literally probably the biggest thing I've implemented, or at least tried to implement across the board this year. Separation of tasks, very important, and I think it's been a game changer for a lot of things, personally and business wise.
Yeah, I think it's been really good, and we've been able to read a lot more this year as well, which is good. Like, we've had quite a few good book recommendations. If you wanted to go back to some of our old episodes, maybe I'll accumulate a bit of a list in this one so people sort of know the books that were kind of recommended and talked about. But yeah, just the whole separation of tasks. I was listening to the Lex Fridman and far out, I'm bad with names today. Who's that Amazon dude?
Jeff Bezos.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, they did an interview together, and it was just something that he did, like, as a leader, like in a boardroom and stuff, right? Is knowing who has their jobs and who has their tasks. You know, people that are experts in their fields, like, he has those people around him and he gives them the freedom to speak first. Like, he's one of those people that says, always speak last, because, like, he's obviously the most intimidating person in the room. He doesn't want his opinion and his thoughts and stuff to influence anybody else. So, you know, with that delegation of tasks and thing, he makes sure they have the freedom to speak. Usually the person that's, I guess, the lowest in the totem pole or the ladder will speak first, so they can kind of get their thoughts out there, and everybody sort of grows and moves on top of that. But it's just more about, you know, knowing what people are, what their skill levels are, what they're experts in, and letting them do what they do best, rather than being like that overshadowing, influencing kind of person, be like, no, what I say goes.
Yeah. I mean, he's probably just learnt that from a decade or two of learning that, it doesn't work when you're trying to helicopter and manage every aspect. And I've done it with you in the past, and I've really got to just give you the task, or let you want to take the task rather than putting it on you. But, letting you do it in your own way, as opposed to trying to control it. If we get an employee in the next 18 months, you can't start off a business and start adding employees to the mix if you're going to be all over them like a wet blanket, essentially. So, separation of tasks, very important. And it's it really applies to any type of relationship, whether you're with your family member or something. You can't control what they're going to do. All you can do is accept the fact that they're going to make the decisions that they make, but you just got to do your best to just do the best in terms of playing your role in that relationship, and that means just doing what you do, and just knowing the task that it's within your hands and what you're capable of doing, and not overthinking the other side of the equation. Yeah,
it's more like just trusting them that you know that they're capable to do what they do best, and just.
And if they let you down, and you've given them the freedom to do their task, and it hasn't been up to scratch, then your task then is to make them aware.
Provide feedback.
It's like a tennis match. It's as opposed to running to the other side of the court and trying to hit the ball for them. It's like, that's your task. You either did it or didn't do it, and then my job is to either acknowledge and respond accordingly from my side of the fence. So I hope that makes sense. We'll separate this episode from next week's episode and put a little bow at the end of 2023. Merry Christmas. Have a good Boxing Day and a Happy New Year. And we'll see you guys in 2024. And Sarah will probably wear the same party shirt.
Maybe. Well, who knows? I have worn 2 shirts in the same before.
Have
by
you?
Accident. Remember, I just wore them 2 weeks after each other.
Oh, I thought you meant 2 in one episode.
No.
We're going to do a wardrobe change.
Yeah. No. We do record the episodes separately. It's fine. Bye,
Okay, you do watch them as well. But
I do.
Right.
Yeah. I hope
See you
so.
guys.
Bye.
Merry Christmas.